You will not learn duty here, you will learn it elsewhere. And so Alexander was sent away across Europe for years, told it was for education purpose. But everyone knew it was exile. And Clara, she was told nothing. Nothing of his whereabouts, nothing as to how to communicate with him. You see, as the only heir to Duke Edmund, Alexander was expected to marry Lady Arabella and secure the family's will. But Alexander refused because he had already fallen in love with the vicar's daughter. When his father, the Duke of Ashbourne, found out, he sent Alexander away immediately. Years later, the countryside was alive with whispers of Alexander's return home. Inside, Rosewood Manor servants whispered, "He's back. The Duke's son has returned." Walking through the halls, Alexander felt different, like a stranger entering the life of someone else. And so that evening, Alexander took a walk in the village and passed by the village church, where he heard a voice so strong it pulled him in. Clara, her voice soft and steady, like something the world forgot it needed. Walking quietly to where she stood, she turned, accidentally bumping into him. A movement so small, but it hit both of them so hard. With a soft laugh, Clara said, "I'm terribly sorry. I didn't see you there." "No, I should have been watching where I stood." The second their eyes met, it was as if the world slowed to a halt as memories started pouring in. Alexander and Clara by the stream playing. Alexander and Clara watching the stars under the moonlight. Alexander and Clara running around the woods. "It's you," Clara said, her eyes wide. "Hello, Clara." And from behind, they hear a throat clearing and immediately separate from each other. The vicar, Clara's father, said, "I had heard you had returned home. It's good to see you." "Thank you, Reverend. It's good to be home." Turning to his daughter, the vicar said, "Clara, your sister has been looking for you. Go inside and help Evelyn prepare for supper." "Yes, father," she said, her eyes still lingering on Alexander. And with a small smile, she said, "It was good seeing you again." "And you," Alexander replied softly. With that, Clara turned and walked toward the cottage behind the church. Waiting until the door closed, the vicar said, "I imagine you already know why I sent her away. You see, when you left all those years ago, my daughter spent months waiting for letters that never came, sitting by that window every evening convinced that tomorrow would bring word from you." "The circumstances were complicated," Alexander said quietly. "I never intended to hurt her. No man ever does." Stepping closer, the vicar said, "You're a duke's son. My daughter a vicar's child. While the world will forgive you for mistakes, it will never forgive her. If your intentions is to pass through her life once more, leave her be." Looking towards the cottage where Clara had disappeared, Alexander said, "I haven't crossed half of Europe to walk away from her again." Following his gaze, the vicar said, "Then for both your sakes, I hope you know what you're doing." Days passed, then weeks. Alexander began visiting the village under the excuse of estate matters, and on each of these visits, he tried talking to Clara, bribed her junior sister into giving her flowers and letters where he apologized and tried to explain his departure and the lack of communication on his part. It took a while, with Clara initially sending back the flowers and the letters unopened. But with Alexander's persistence, her heart grew softer. Her stance on becoming a spinster started to fade away. One would often see Clara coming back from the market with a smile on her lips, or in the middle of the night rereading letters and smelling the flowers Alexander sent. And so for the first time in weeks of pursuing Clara fervently, Alexander finally received a response. At the manor, Alexander's closest friend Nathaniel notices his mood. "You've been disappearing into the village more often. Should I be concerned or impressed?" "It's nothing," Alexander said. With a laugh, Nathaniel replied, "That's what men say when it's everything." Meanwhile, at the village, Clara's sister Evelyn watched her carefully. "You're falling for him. He's kind. He wouldn't intentionally hurt me." "Well, I do hope the kindness remains when the world is against it. 2 weeks later, a carriage arrives at Rosewood Manor. Lady Arabella steps out, elegant, sharp, unreadable, and is quickly helped in by the servants of Rosewood Manor. At dinner, she sits beside Alexander, with his father at the head of the table. You've grown distant, Alexander, or perhaps distracted. I assure you, Lady Arabella, I am quite well. The remainder of the meal passed in polite conversation. When dinner was over, Duke Edmund rose from his seat. I shall retire for the evening. The two of you should spend some time together. It is important that you become acquainted. And with that, he left the dining room. A few moments later, Alexander and Arabella found themselves alone on the balcony, overlooking the gardens of Rosewood Manor. For a while, neither spoke. Then Alexander broke the silence, saying, Lady Arabella, there is something you should know. I cannot marry you. What do you mean? There is someone else. Someone I love. Laughing softly, she said, You cannot be serious. I am. But I love you, Alexander. And that is precisely why I must be honest with you. I do not wish to hurt you more than necessary. Tears gathered in her eyes. If there is truly someone else, then keep her. Marry me, and keep her as your mistress. None of your station do it all the time. No. Alexander, I will not do that to you, and I will not do that to her. I am sorry, Arabella. Then he turned and walked back into the manor, leaving Arabella alone on the balcony as tears rolled silently down her cheeks. Somehow, someway, Arabella found out who her rival was and immediately goes to confront Clara in the village. So you are the tramp trying to take my man away. You think he will choose you? Not backing down, Arabella steps closer. I will ensure you lose. I will ruin you. With that statement, Arabella walks away with plans on how to go about Clara's room.